What's up, players? Welcome to episode number 81 of Ready Press Play, your weekly source for everything that's new and exciting in the world of video games. Every Friday at 6 a.m. Pacific or 9 a.m. Eastern Time, we discuss the top news of the week, notable releases on our platforms while we're playing, big topics of the industry, and the games we love. If you want to write anything to Brett in the show, go to ReadyPlayNetwork.com or hit us up at Ready Press Play on Twitter and TikTok. No matter where you found this, please subscribe to the feed so you can get every new show directly to your device as soon as it posts. And if you like it, please leave us a nice review. This is July 30th, 2021. I'm your host, Daniel Lima. I'm joined as always by my co-host, Mr. Louis Menchaca.
You know, Dan, and I say this very lovingly, but somehow every day I find new reasons to hate you.
What do you mean? why do you hate me this time?
Go ahead and hit us up with the first bit of housekeeping, and then I'll explain.
All right. I think I know where this is going. All right. So housekeeping is where we just kind of go through our weekly updates. Louis does this other podcast named Ready Play Movies as part of our same umbrella network that we call Ready Play Network, where he talks about movies, TV shows, entertainment. But Louis was off last week, and he was going on a vacation. He asked me if I could host the show instead. And I told him, I can, but I might do something experimental. I had a few different plans of what I was going to do. I think we talked about it last week here. And so I did it. And what I did is that I did an interview, and I think it was my first time actually interviewing somebody like that for a podcast. I did an interview of my sister, Gabrielle. She likes to go by Gabby because she works for Netflix and she's been working in entertainment for about 3 years now. And she had a lot of stories and a lot of things to share. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to talk to her and kind of dig a little bit deeper into, her thoughts in the entertainment industry and what it was like to join in and then to grind, try to get jobs in it, and etc. So we talk about that and all parts of it in the episode.
Yeah, so I already feel inadequate as enough as it is, like being under Daniel's presence. But then Daniel just goes and shows off that he has a younger sister who's also a big time producer and an Emmy Award winner. And I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Like, this is like bullshit. So, yeah.
That's so that's so funny. Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. That was never the intent, but I will say I am very proud of her. She has done a phenomenal job. She has joined the industry in quotes just 3 years ago, and she proceeded to work her ass off, work on a lot of different cool things, and work on a show that ended up winning an Emmy, which is pretty crazy. And it's one of those things where, you know, there. There was a time frame where we walk into my mom's house, and in the entryway to mom's house she had my sister's Emmy, and that's when I realized I was not the favorite child anymore. I was like, damn. Like, I gotta beat this out. But obviously I'm just joking. It was great to talk to her and see everything that she had to say. Aside from your feeling of inadequacy, Louis, which I'm sorry you feel that way. I feel a little bit of that too. um, what did you think? What did you think of the episode?
It was a very good episode. I liked it. It was very. I was engaged throughout the entire time. I was actually just listening to it in one
Mhm.
big playthrough because it was just like I didn't want. I kind of wanted the story to continue. Like I almost kind of wish that
Mhm.
that show was an extra 30 minutes longer. To tell you the truth, because like I
Oh,
feel like there
really?
were more stories that just got glossed over or got skipped over. Like, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
man. But good job on like wrangling her in because she was skipping around in the chronology, and you're like, no, no, we gotta go chronological order here. There's too much here, Hold your horses,
Yeah. I just had some general notes of what I knew, like the main points were like in her career, and then I was just kind of trying to hit all of them. And but it was fun. Like I was kind of surprised actually by how well she did at just kind of speaking about the stuff that she worked on, because some people, like, sometimes get somebody to a podcast or some situation like that, and you start asking them questions and they kind of give you like a one-off answer and just kind of end the topic there, and it's kind of harder to make it keep going. So I talk to my sister all the time. She lives in LA as well, just like I do. But I didn't know how she would react in this kind of like situation, because I don't think she had ever been in a podcast before, so I was very positively surprised. I almost had to like I
You had to
didn't
cut
have
her
to
off a couple
push
of
her to
times.
talk.
Yeah.
I almost had to like cut her off here and there because otherwise, like I know in the beginning of the episode, like I asked her like like a general question, like oh like how'd you get into this or whatever, and then she just started talking and talking and talking and talking. I was like, oh, you are my sister.
There
Like
were a couple
okay,
of there were at the end you were doing trying to do rapid fire questions, but it wasn't even rapid fire at all in the
I
like
know.
in the slightest bit.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, like I really do. You guys were like vibing a lot, and there was a lot of
Hmm.
times I counted a lot of times where you were like, mm-hmm, uh-huh, like, and you could have just like not said it and just let her keep going. But yeah, I heard you doing a lot of that, and I'm like, not to say that's bad or whatever. It does sound like you're engaged, but like because it happens so much for such a long duration of time, you could have like edited out a couple of those, but whatever. But yeah,
Good point. Good point. It was one of those where like there were stretches of time where or she was basically the only one talking for like 10 minutes,
yeah.
and then I just felt like I needed to acknowledge that I was still there. You know what I mean? Like, don't forget about me. I'm the host. Which, by the way, for the first time ever, I did something at the end of that, like recording that episode when I was editing, which is that I got her audio track and I truncated the silence on just her audio track so that I wanted to see the total amount of time that she spent talking versus the amount of time that I spent talking.
Oh
And I
wow.
believe, Lewis, it was like an hour 20 show. I think she was talking for like 55 minutes and I was talking for like 25 minutes
Oh my
of that
god.
an hour 20. Yeah, if I remember correctly. So,
Wow.
go listen to it. Ready Play Movies. Go and look that up on your podcast services. We did not do video, so it's audio only. But I'm sure you're going to have a good time listening to that.
And I'll put it on the
Um,
description of the YouTube video as well.
there we go. There we go. Thanks, Lewis. On that note, on the note of Ready Play Movies, Lewis, do you have an announcement to make?
Yes, so Ready Play Movies has been on our YouTube channel on Ready Play Network, and Ready Press Play has been on the Level 1 Gaming YouTube channel. And now there was for those that watch like Level 1 Gaming, they had a weekly lineup that's Monday through Saturday. Something tragedy befell the Tuesday show. I don't want to get into that because that is very like extremely harsh, and I don't want to bring the mood down. But there was a tragedy that befell the Tuesday show. The Tuesday show is on hiatus until they can rework it. And in the meantime, I asked Fame, was like, hey, so I have a Tuesday podcast. It's called Ready Play Movies. Do you mind if I, put the show over there in the meantime? And he said, yes, I love that idea. And so right now it hasn't been officially approved because we need one more approval on the chain line, but I'm pretty sure it's like a 99% lock. But Ready Play Movies, presumably this coming Tuesday, is gonna be on this YouTube channel on the Level 1 Gaming YouTube channel. So it'll be there, hopefully, and we'll be there until Cogs in a Machine comes back from its unscheduled hiatus. But yeah, that's going to be the update, and hopefully everyone at Level 1 Gaming can appreciate my expertise and my commentary on all things movies and entertainment. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. And talking about Level One Gaming, we both wanted to congratulate Fame Entertainment, David, the head of Level One Gaming, for getting a lot of cool podcast appearances going on right now. He was in Podcast Unlocked, which is the IGN's Xbox podcast. I listen to it every week. And when I saw it, I wish I had just listened to the episode and been surprised that David was on it, but instead I saw the tweets first, and then I made a point to go and listen to it right away. But he did a phenomenal job. It was really good. It was really cool to see somebody like David that's been working so hard to build Level One Gaming and bring it to the place that it is now be recognized in a platform of that scale. Because Podcast Unlocked, or pretty much all of the IGN podcasts, they're up there. They're in the top. Like basically the top 25, like at least like gaming podcasts out there, Unlocked and GameScoop and NVC and stuff. So shout out to David for going up there.
Yeah, I'm glad he's not big timing me. He's not rejecting my calls, so that's cool. But yeah, big ups to him, and yeah, he's awesome guy, and I'm glad I've known him for all these years, and I'm glad I'm along for the ride in any cursory way. But yeah, hopefully we can get him back on this show, and then that way we
Yeah.
can talk to him about his journey. I know we interviewed him
Mhm.
early on in this podcast life cycle about how he started Level One Gaming. So maybe we should get an update or something straight from the horse's
Yeah.
mouth.
Yeah, true, true, true. Yeah, he did a really good job. And when you're standing next to Ryan McCaffrey, who is one of the legends of this industry as far as games coverage, games media journalism goes, and all this stuff, like it's to stay toe to toe with Ryan McCaffrey on a podcast, you got to respect that.
Yeah,
You know,
of course.
you got to respect that. All right, Lewis. So on to first, you know what? I'm gonna skip. I'm gonna go to this one first. I just want to mention there was an Annapurna narrative publisher of any indie games, and we give him props every once in a while. I did not have time to watch that showcase, and I think Lewis did not either. So we are not going to be covering it on the show today. I also feel like it's one of those things where I don't think there's going to be many news from it other than just like, oh, here's a bunch of cool indie games. But we are going to be looking into it. I will probably be watching it later in the weekend if I have some time. And I'm sure there are great games in there that I'm probably going to want to be playing because they're a pretty great publisher. And then finally, or final note of housekeeping here, it's really just more updates on the abandoned story that we've been covering almost week to week. I almost want to turn this into its own segment, Lewis, but I think you can live it within, housekeeping for now. So I just want to bring up the Twitter account for, Blue Box Game Studios, which by the way, the handle for it's BB Game Studios. Lewis, what does BB make you think of?
I don't know. Is it something
Because you
supposed to
didn't play Death Stranding.
Oh,
You didn't play Death. So BBs are the babies in Death Stranding that they used to
oh
connect to
yeah.
and so forth, right? Probably just a coincidence, but just wanted to throw that out there. Now, look at these recent tweets. So I'm gonna go back here to July. Let me see. We already covered on July 14th. We covered already that they changed the name of their app. Then they didn't tweet anything until July 27th. About like um 2 weeks later. They say the real-time experience app will be available in Japan on August 10th, along with the introduction, open parentheses, opening teaser. The app requires PS Plus membership in Germany due to legal requirements. Preload available on July 29th. Okay. The next one, the preload worldwide is July 29th. The next one, PS Plus membership is only required in Germany. So it's just a very weird like flow of tweets right there. It's like, okay, we get it. We get it. Now Japan first, interesting, right? So then they post this image like abandoned real-time experience only for PS5. Are you ready? We are. Now, Lewis, I wanted to click on this image and then enhance it.
Oh my
And
God. I see
you
the eye
can see
patch.
so it looks like Solid Snake's face, kind of,
Yeah.
with the eye patch, right? And then there are these letters on top of abandoned that are blurry. Now, as far as I can tell, nobody has been able to like figure out what the letters are. Okay, but there's clearly a message that is blurred out, like under this title, right? And
CSI would have taught me to be like enhance.
I know. Unfortunately, we can't really do that in real life, as far as I know, right? Now we're basically just going through this Twitter flow here, and then they say with Abandoned, we wanted to deliver a new gameplay narrative. The way you explore, fight, and progress is all done differently and unique. With the real-time experience, you not only get to see the high-end graphics, you also experience how the game feels like. Confirming that this is not just about a trailer, this is in fact a playable teaser or a playable demo of some kind of the game.
Come on. Yeah,
After,
I know what you're doing, but whatever. Go on.
after all, the real-time experience is a game application and does much more than just a video. We believe a real-time experience app is a next-gen feature that wasn't possible before thanks to the fast SSD. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me either. It's like, okay, you couldn't have this. You're gonna have a demo before without an SSD. All right. allowing us to travel from point A to point B instantly into low data fast. So an in-game cinematic in form of a trailer makes perfect sense, and it is a nice feature to have next to a usual video. So we are hoping all of you joining the exciting real-time experience and to introduce you, abandoned in the best way possible. Just wait for the review and relax. There's more. There's some more here, but the point is, this is the conspiracy theory that keeps on giving, Lewis. How can you explain that image? How can you explain that image and not think that there's an association with, Metal Gear or Hideo Kojima? How can you look at somebody describe their game in this way and not think of Hideo Kojima, who describes his games very similar? Remember him talking about Death Stranding and how Death Stranding was a game of no particular genre. It was a new genre of game that he was inventing called end game. Do you ever hear anybody else talk like that? Only Kojima talks like that.
Okay, look, I'm just saying there's
Now,
always
last
a
but not least,
possibility.
go ahead.
There's always a possibility that, you know, Kojima, like, like whenever somebody's like an up and coming artist and they're like, I grew up listening to Prince. He's my inspiration, that kind of thing. What if
Hmm.
Kojima just, got a disciple inadvertently?
True. That could to me that is the only other logical explanation. If this is not Kojima. Now, I did want to bring up the official Twitter account for the one developer, the one like the game director of this game that we know about, Mr. Hassan Karaman, and I hope I said that right. At Hassan E. Karaman, founder of Blue Box Game Studios, independent game developer based in the Netherlands. His Twitter account says he joined in November of 2013. However, he has a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tweets. His oldest tweet is from July 11th, which is just
A
earlier this
retweet.
month.
Yeah, which is a retweet.
And it was a retweet of Blue Box.
Okay.
Can you look at who he follows?
Okay.
I actually, for some reason, I'm not being able to pull it up right now.
All
I think
right,
it's
let's
because
see
I'm not
here.
logged in.
Alana Pierce, Jeff Keighley, Rami Ismail, Blue Box, Mark Delaney, James Jarvis, Yasmin, and the Habibis.
Which, by the way, that is associated with Rami Ismail as well. Okay,
Hmm.
so very interesting selection of people to follow. Like, why does this dude only follow 8 people on Twitter? It's like when you see somebody, it's like an account they only follow 8 people. It's usually a situation where it's like maybe the level 1 gaming account only follows the people that gaming or something, right?
All right.
But in this case, it just kind of seems kind of random. It seems like I don't know. Maybe did he just follow some people from the games media to, not make it seem like it's just some ghost account? But I don't want to prolong this too much longer. But this account to me clearly looks like a spoof account. Is what I'm trying to get to. Like this does not look like a legit account of somebody that uses Twitter.
Yeah, but
Now,
how is it
did
somebody like, created this account back in 2013? This is way before Kojima ever left
here's
Konami.
how. Okay, so here's how. Number one, you can claim there are ways that you can claim somebody else's account or you can buy somebody else's account. Okay.
Hmm.
2, you can change your handle and change your name in your account. So this could be like I have random Twitter accounts that I've created at some point that I haven't used anymore. Let's say 10 years from now, Ready Press Play doesn't exist anymore, but the at Ready Press Play account still exists, right? So maybe we'll go in there and we'll rename at Ready Press Play. We'll change it to at Daniel Menchaca, and then I'm gonna create a Daniel Menchaca character. I delete all the tweets, and then I start tweeting from that point on as Daniel Menchaca, but my account is 10 years old. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
I see.
So my point is like this could have been some like there is a development studio working in this game. This could have been somebody in the studio's account, like old account from 2013 that they didn't use anymore or whatever. They just renamed it, like changed the handle, renamed it, deleted all the tweets, and then started using it from July onward, right? I don't know. Like, so I'm just kind of bringing this up because to me, it feels like this story just keeps getting more and more holes, and I just keeps feeling more and more like there is something there. And once again, I only see two viable explanations. I don't even look at this as a conspiracy theory anymore. To me, the conspiracy theory would be to think that there's nothing going on. To me, that sounds like a conspiracy.
Look at the Blue
To me, it
Box's
is obvious.
look at Blue Box's pinned tweet from June 15th. We wanted to set things straight.
Yeah.
We have no relations with Konami. Silent Hill is owned by Konami. We don't have any relations with Hideo Kojima. It was never our intention to tease the name as Silent Hill. We sincerely apologize for this. That's what they
A
want you to
tweet
think.
from a month. Yeah, a tweet from a month and a half ago that they have not unpinned yet. Like, shouldn't they be promoting their trailer app? Like, shouldn't that be the pinned tweet by now? They are more concerned about saying that they're not Hideo Kojima than they are promoting their game. They're more concerned about making like these weird, like cryptic messages and images that, there's only two reasonable explanations here. Either they are intentionally trying to make it seem like it is a Hideo Kojima game as a marketing stunt, or it's Hideo Kojima. That's where we're at right now. There's no way it's anything other than one of those two options, in my opinion, of course. But to me, it's pretty clear.
Okay.
You have nothing more to add. We
Nothing
can
more to
go with
add.
a regular show. And after these 20 minutes of housekeeping, let's get into the show. Lewis, let me go to you first. Are you playing anything?
And that is a negative.
Looks like it's gonna be a very me talking episode.
Yes.
Lewis, I am playing a game that I have not played in a long time. A game from 2007. A game that uses a peripheral, or potentially multiple peripherals, but I am using it with one specifically. I decided to go on eBay and finally pull the trigger and buy a Guitar Hero guitar
Okay.
with some Guitar Hero games. So I ended up getting, because the guitar I got came with Guitar Hero 5 and Band Hero. And then I went ahead and I also bought Guitar Hero 3, which is my favorite by itself. And I bought that. I found a guitar in a pretty good condition for about $50. So to me, that was a pretty good deal. It also included the two games that I mentioned. I got that delivered. It was all pretty clean and nice. I did some extra cleaning on it. I got it for the Wii.
Oh
And I
no. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
terrible. That's a terrible decision, man. Come on,
Mm-mm.
man. You got to put the Wii remote and stick it in there and yeah.
You know what? I made the right choice, and I'll tell you what. Number one, the peripherals are generally cheaper to get for the Wii than they are for the other platforms. So that's one of the things that I was thinking about.
Fair
But
enough.
number two, if I got it for the PS3 requires a dongle that plugs into your PS3 to sync your guitar to it.
Okay.
The Wii version does not, because the Wii version uses the like wireless connectivity of the Wii controller itself, the Wii
Yeah.
remote itself. Um, Number four, I already have plenty of Wiimotes that I don't know what to do with. I already had a Wii U I was sitting on. Number five, the game is not backwards compatible in any way. I couldn't play it on the Series X. I looked it up. So to me, it just seemed to make sense. It's like, okay, this is the cheaper option, is the option where I don't need to find the dongle, which is usually sold separately because they're kind of rare nowadays. And I'll get the experience. And most of the people probably played that game on the Wii anyway back in the day, because the Wii was the lead platform. I did not. I used to play it on the PS3. The other thing that I thought about as well was like, okay, well, I have all the Guitar Hero stuff for the PS3 somewhere in Brazil, I would assume. So maybe I'll get that back one day. But in the meantime, I'll get it for the Wii, whatever. If I regret it, I'll just sell it again and then buy it for another platform. But the guitar worked perfectly. At first I started playing, I was getting everything wrong, so I had to calibrate it. And then I calibrated it, and I was right back in my form, or almost back in my form. Lewis, I don't know if I've ever said this. I probably did when I did a sharing the love on this, but I may not be particularly good at games. But one of the very few games in my life where I got good at, and by good, I mean better than the people around me or better than my group of friends, was Guitar Hero.
Mm.
When I played Guitar Hero as a high schooler, I could play most of the songs on expert and play them well. To the point where a lot of the songs that I played, I didn't play them trying to like pass the song. I played them trying to 100% the song. That's what I did. So when I started playing Guitar Hero again now for the first time in what's likely around 10 years, I did not go back to that level, but I also did not go back to like easy level either. So I am very comfortably playing songs on hard now. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm going through the campaign on Guitar Hero 3, trying to unlock the song, all the characters, get all the outfits, that stuff. I'm doing all of that on hard, and then hopefully I can build my way back up to being able to comfortably play on expert as well. And that's what I'm doing. That's the only thing I played this week, but I had a pretty good time with it.
Please tell me like the track list is like complete or like amazing or like you got all the DLC track lists or expansions that there could ever be.
So here's the thing with Rock Band, um, they did the microtransactions where you could buy songs online and like your library would carry over to future games and etc. Guitar Hero is more simplistic. Guitar Hero, everything is in the disc. So it's a matter of whether you can unlock it through the game or not. At least Guitar Hero 3 is that way. I'm not as familiar with the ones after that. I don't remember very well. I think at some point maybe they started introducing some microtransactions. But I will tell you this. I have not finished the campaign yet, so I have not unlocked all the songs from the campaign. But with the money that I got in the campaign, in-game money, not real money, I have unlocked all of the bonus songs that you use in-game money to get. And I just really love the track list for Guitar Hero 3. I think it's so good. I think it has really good songs from really amazing artists, and it was my introduction to a lot of artists, actually, and my introduction to a lot of songs and so forth. And I think Guitar Hero 3 has the best track list of all of the Guitar Hero games.
Fair
But that
enough.
is my humble opinion. But yeah, no, I'm having to unlock everything. So because I guess the game, like,
And you're
the save date is in the Wii, right?
yeah.
So
Are you using the Wii
yeah,
U?
yes, I
Okay,
am
good.
using the Wii U
Good
to
job.
play it. Yes, yes.
All right.
Um, I will say this: my only regret with getting the Wii version is that the game does look bad. It looks terrible.
That's also another thing
It
I was
is,
thinking. I was like, how are you enjoying that 480p?
yeah. The resolution of the game is awful.
Well,
But
I mean, we
that aside,
we played it on the or like Guitar Hero was big on the PlayStation 2, so it's basically
yeah.
like having a PlayStation 2 version of the game.
hmm
But yeah,
But
fair enough.
that's it. And yeah, nothing more from me.
Okay. All right. I'll go ahead and do the next bit. Okay, real talk. I had no idea that this was a thing. So, for the battle bus, you got a Fortnite little story here. That says Fortnite is getting a Suicide Squad themed update that will include Bloodsport. So yeah. Oh, Bloodsport. Oh, snap. That's Idris Elba's character's name. Yeah. Okay.
hmm
So Bloodsport is coming to Fortnite. That's pretty good. That's really awesome. They got Idris Elba's likeness up in this bitch. So that's cool. So yeah, that's like it's like almost if you have like Deadshot from like the first Suicide Squad, like with Will Smith's likeness would have been in it. That would have been
Let
dope.
me ask you something. Do you think that Suicide Squad movie is going to end up being forgotten to time? Like,
The first one, the David Ayer, the yes,
yes.
yes, it's that movie was a better trailer than it was a movie. So
Yeah, without even getting into the quality of the movie as much, like I find it interesting that like that this new movie, it's not called Suicide Squad 2 and it's not called like Suicide Squad colon anything. It's just called The Suicide Squad. And from my understanding, it's kind of like this soft reboot of the franchise where it's like it's theoretically a sequel, but not really that connected. It's just kind of its own thing. So I wonder, like, if this movie is successful and if people like this movie more, which seems like is going to be the case.
Yeah, it's got a 9 on
Um,
IGN.
is it possible that this is going to span some level of a franchise, and this will be thought of as like the beginning of the franchise,
I don't
like
even
by
know.
new watchers? Like, my point is like 10 years from now, when teenagers 10 years from now want to go and watch like the Suicide Squad, do you think there's any chance that they're gonna go watch like the original or even know that existed?
No, probably
Or
not.
or is it gonna become one of those things like the old like Marvel movies from like before the 90s that we don't even remember exist, basically. Yeah.
Wow. Probably like it'll probably be that. Um,
Mhm.
Bad movies tend to get lost of time and get forgotten. Hell, even new movies that are like forgettable get forgotten like within 5 minutes of exiting the theater. So I would say like the movies that tend to like leave a lasting impact are going to be the ones that just get remembered. And I'm hearing a lot of good things about it. And also James Gunn, man, he knows how to write misfits. So he's done it with Guardians of the Galaxy, and he'll be at it again with this one. So yeah.
I have to say, I mean, this is not Ready Play Movie, so we shouldn't get into this for too long, but um I everybody is super excited for this new movie based on the trailers, but they haven't gotten me yet. I'm still like, we'll see. We'll see when it gets here. I'm still very skeptical about it, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh
But
man.
we'll
Okay.
see. Hmm.
All right. Well,
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
I was like, I'll put it to you this way. I think it'll be better than F9.
no way. No fucking way. No fucking way. Here's okay. Let's talk about that now. Let's talk about that now. So I did listen to. I actually went back after I watched F9. I went back and I listened to your thoughts back on Ready Play Movies, and my guess is your thoughts have probably changed since then. You said something along the lines of like, "I hate this movie as much as I love it," right? Like this
Yes.
movie's so bad as much as it is so good.
Yes. No, no,
I have
I actually kind of slide more negative now. Like this movie is so bad,
okay.
but like honestly, to tell you the truth, I still give it redeeming. I still give it benefit of the
Yeah.
doubt because I'm such a fast stan. Let's just go with that.
So I went to the movie theater with my sister Gabi, her boyfriend Kevin, my friend Ari, and Leah. The five of us watched the movie, right? And Gabi and Kevin specifically, they weren't really that familiar with the Fast franchise. So I slowly, over the course of like the last month and a half, I've been making them watch as much of the other movies as I could. And we watched it, and Leah was positive with it, and then the rest was like pretty negative about it. But I will tell you right now, Lewis, and I feel as passionate about this as I'm gonna make it sound. I have a hard time understanding how it's possible for somebody to not love. Like, I think like and let me go a little bit further on that. Let me explain, okay? If you told me I hate all of the Fast and Furious movies and I didn't like that one, I could understand that. Or even if you told me, okay, I like Fast and Furious up to Tokyo Drift, and then I don't like everything after that is garbage, then I can understand that too. But to me, it makes absolutely no sense that somebody could like seven or like eight or like five or like six and not like nine. Because to me, it's basically like those movies, but on crack. It's just like more of that and better. It's like that's how I look at it.
Bigger isn't
Like,
always better, but you know that's the issue
true.
is people don't want it to be on crack. I think there was like with each movie they sort of toe the line of like realistic and
Mhm.
stuff like that. And they've already jumped the shark before, but there was like it was a gradual like it's like a gradual build up, but then it just becomes like a parabola and it just sort of spikes up, and I feel like they got the equation wrong in this movie in my opinion. Also,
Mm.
there was no Rock, and the Rock, he's charming, okay?
Yeah, no, I definitely miss The Rock. I like his presence in the movies. But I will tell you this, if anything, I wanted them to have gone further. Like, I want to see I want to see this movie go bananas. Like, that's where I want to see this franchise go, because to me they've already done it. Like, that's the thing. It's like I can't, like, I don't understand how somebody could have seen the things that were happening in 7 and 8 and be like, well, it was still a little bit grounded. It's like, no, to me it was already bananas. So like just go all out. Like, I was kind of mad with the space sequence we're getting very mild spoilers here. This was spoiled in the trailer because I wanted them to have gone further with it. Like, give me more. Give me like a fight in space. Like, give me something crazy. Like, I want to see Roman like get out of the car and do something nutty. You know what I mean? Like, I I want to see something insane. Like, show me aliens for God's sake. Like, I don't know. Like, that's where I want this franchise to go because I think at this point the joke is the escalation. I watched this anime show that I really like. It's just like one like 24 episode season, I think, called Samurai Flamenco, and the show is a joke on the over the topness of shonen anime. It's kind of like One Punch Man in a way, where it's kind of like it's a parody. But Samurai Flamenco starts as an extremely grounded, almost kind of stupid superhero show where this guy really wants to be a superhero, so he starts like fighting crime in his neighborhood, like without knowing what he's doing, right? Every episode from that on escalates further, and they just keep going and going and going and going to the point where, like, by episode 24, he's like some godlike creature fighting, just completely insane. And the joke of the show, like the funny part of it, is the escalation. So I look at Fast and Furious the same way. Like, I don't want there to be an end to it. I want to see infinite escalation, you know, like, and the things that I like the most about the movie were the things that were going that direction. Like, in the sense of like, there's this whole bit about like them being invincible or whatever. I wouldn't mind that being a plot point. I wouldn't mind if in the next movie they find out that somehow they're not human. They're like some like Superman
Gods.
like race or whatever.
Or yeah.
Like yeah, like give me that. Like I'm just all in for it. My point is like I feel like I've accepted that this franchise is just a joke, and I just want to be in. Like, I'm just in on the joke.
Speaking of jokes, I actually have been seeing a lot of memes of like where like Vin Diesel is like, winning for all these characters and stuff like that because of family. Like, have you seen like the things
Mhm.
where he like steps in? He's like, "You're very strong, but you're not strong as family," and then like he
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
saves the character from dying or something. Like in
Which,
other
by the way,
movies.
I saw so many memes. I saw all the memes over and over again before I actually saw the movie, and I expected there to be a scene in the movie that played out the same way, and there wasn't. You know, like it's like the meme format. I thought the meme format was mimicking a scene in the movie, and I didn't really see that. Like, I thought he was gonna be saving somebody with that line, like, "Oh, you're not strongest family" or something. You know what I mean? Like, I thought that's what was coming. But like, obviously the plot holes are all over the place. I would never argue the movie is good. Like, I would never argue that the movie is good from a like kind of like movie critic standpoint. But I loved it. It was all I wanted from
That,
it.
I think we're on
Like,
the
which
same
is just the
page because
crazy.
I said the
Yeah.
exact same thing on my thoughts on the movie. But yeah, no, you know what? I've gotten like negative on the movie since, but I kind of like at this conversation helped me slide positive again. But yeah. Um,
Don't be so easily manipulated, Lewis.
no, but my thoughts are still the same though. Like I don't
Yeah.
think I think that I can see whereas you can say I can't see why people are like jumping off the boat. I can see why people are jumping off the boat.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like I almost jumped off.
Yeah.
Like I'm off the
Mhm.
boat, but I'm being tethered to it by like a life raft with the rope tied to the boat. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
that's where I'm at. You know.
Which, by the way, I love. Now we're going into even further spoiler territory. There is a character that everybody knows comes back in the movie. I loved the way that they explained that because they didn't even do it. Like, they didn't even really do it. You
Like
know what
oh,
I mean? Like,
you're smoke and
yeah,
mirrors. You know.
yeah. Like, oh, okay. Like, dude, it's so funny. Like, and we both know that if they were able to afford Gal Gadot right now, and if she had the time and wanted
They
to,
bring
that
her
they would
back.
get her back too.
I don't
Yeah,
even know how they
it's just
explain away that she fell into like a tarmac. You know what I mean? Like I don't even
yeah.
know.
Like, I mean, we didn't even see her die on screen. We didn't see her funeral or anything. So like that was actually, I'm surprised because like that would have been one of the easiest characters to bring back. You know, in the sense that we didn't see it. Like, so they could, like, maybe she fell on a mattress. Like, there was a mattress on the floor. Or better, maybe she fell in a car. And as we know, cars in this universe are softer than mattresses. You can
Yeah,
just fall on a car at any point. It's all good.
many a times people have fallen on cars in that movie in the franchise.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Which podcast are we on again?
Yeah, let's. It's like Ready Press Play movies is what it's called, I think.
I know. I know. All right, Lewis. Let's talk about the news. Unless you have more Fortnite, whatever
Nope.
you want to do.
Nope.
All
I
right.
actually didn't even get the Space Jam skin because I haven't logged in Fortnite in like a month,
Mm,
even though I wanted to get
damn.
that skin. But whatever.
I haven't played in a few weeks too. I got to go back to it.
All right.
All right. So we were just goofing off and being silly, but we're going to start the show today with a very serious story. Now, this started happening last week already. We kind of buried it in the extra news because I wasn't really sure what to say about it yet. I still don't know if I do, but the story has exploded into more. There's like more details about it coming out all the time, and there's a lot of people talking about it on Twitter and etc. To the point where I felt like it would be wrong really to ignore it at this point and to not give it the time of day and have a little bit of a conversation about it or to cover it in some way. So here we are, and it's another one of those stories of like shit sucks in the games industry and in other. In, a lot of times we see these stories come up either crunch or bad working conditions or sexism in the workplace, harassment, like all this terrible stuff. And we had a wave of new things coming out about that in regards to Activision Blizzard specifically this year. Last year there was a lot of stories like this about Ubisoft. We're going to touch on that a little bit as well. But we're going to start with this article from Kotaku. It's written by Ethan Gack. And I think Kotaku has done the most work kind of covering this time with some work by Jason Schreier for Bloomberg as well. I actually think he started it, but then Kotaku went after it too. I'm not typically a huge fan of Kotaku reporting, but I don't have any issue with how they're doing this one. I feel like they're actually doing a good job at it. So we're gonna start with this article here that says over 2,000 Activision Blizzard employees signed letter condemning company's response to allegations. Hundreds of current and former employees from across Activision Blizzard have signed a letter to the company's management calling its response to a recent lawsuit alleging widespread sexual harassment and discrimination at some of its offices abhorrent and insulting. Following the announcement from Activision Blizzard, and in light of the internal memo circulated by Francis Townsend, a group of over 800 employees from across all of Activision Blizzard King and its subsidiaries came together to take action. A representative of the group told Kotaku. Over the weekend, we drafted an open letter to our leadership that is now gathering signatures from across our organizations and have been working on next steps. The letter was sent to managers today, two sources confirmed, a full copy of which was shared with Kotaku and has been excerpted below. I'm probably not going to read all of this, but I'm going to read the start. To the leaders of Activision Blizzard, we, the undersigned, agree that the statements from Activision Blizzard Incorporated and their legal counsel regarding the DFEH lawsuit, as well as the subsequent internal statement from Francis Townsend, are abhorrent and insulting to all that we believe our company should stand for. To put it clearly and unequivocally, our values as employees are not accurately reflected in the words and actions of our leadership. And then they go on further there. This is mostly focused on like the response that Activision had to the lawsuit, and I think this is going to bring a little bit more context to it. On July 20th, the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing filed a complaint against Activision Blizzard, accusing the Call of Duty and Overwatch publisher of a frat boy workplace culture based on a 2-year investigation. In response, DFEH includes distorted and in many cases false descriptions of Blizzard's past. Activision Blizzard said in a statement in response, calling it the work of unaccountable state bureaucrats. So basically, they were sued. The company issued an official statement saying this is bullshit, basically, and then the employees, more than 2,000 of them, have signed a letter saying, actually, no, we disagree with that. In the days that followed, leaders within the company offered their own responses. Some called the allegations in the complaint troubling. Others, like Activision Blizzard Chief Compliance Officer Francis Townsend, called the lawsuit meritless in a strongly worded rebuke sent to Activision staff. A number of current Blizzard developers then began speaking out online to distance themselves from the company's official response and criticize how leaders were handling the situation. Today, Uppercut Crit reported that Activision Chief Operating Officer Joshua Taub held a contentious all-hands meeting with 500 staff discussing the company's handling of the ongoing fallout. In it, he apparently encouraged employees to let the handling of these issues remain internal, including when it came to a question about staff unionizing. The best way for protection is reaching out to your supervisors, hotline, and avenues, Taub responded, according to Uppercut Crit. Activision Blizzard did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Uh, and then I'm not going to get into that part. Now, there's two more things I want to touch in here. Um, so first is that there's this other Kotaku article that helps, add some more context to this as well. It's called "Inside Blizzard Developers' Infamous Bill Cosby Suite," and there's probably let people know that there might be some triggering. I should have done this in the beginning of the story. There might be some triggering stuff here that we're going through. But this was also reported by the same Ethan Gack. Since news broke last week of widespread allegations of sexual harassment and discrimination at Activision Blizzard via legal complaint from the state of California, many top male developers there, both current and former, have responded with shock and dismay. But while many claim they weren't aware of the problematic frat boy culture leading to accusations of sexual harassment and assault at the hands of male Blizzard employees, comments and images shared on social media paint a different picture based on photographs screenshots of Facebook obtained by Kotaku, it's clear that beyond Alex Afrasiabi, the man named in the lawsuit and longtime World of Warcraft developer, were aware of the Cosby suite mentioned in the lawsuit. That was apparently a nickname for Afrasiabi's BlizzCon 2013 hotel room and seemingly a reference to the name of previously convicted rapist Bill Cosby. Afrasiabi worked on World of Warcraft beginning in 2004, designed some of his biggest quests, and eventually became a creative director in the 2016 Legion and 2018 Battle for Azeroth expansions. He's also the only person outside of Blizzard president J. Elliott Drack outright named in the lawsuit, a fact that's made it easy for many to try to distance themselves from Afrasiabi's action. During a company event, an annual convention called BlizzCon, Afrasiabi would hit on female employees, telling him he wanted to marry them, attempting to kiss them, and putting his arms around them. The complaint reads, this was in plain view of other male employees, including supervisors who had to intervene and pull him off female employees. Afrasiabi was so known to engage in harassment of females that his suite was nicknamed the Crosby Suite after alleged rapist Bill Crosby. Um, there's so much more to this. The Cosby Suite was also this group chat that multiple male employees from Blizzard were a part of, where they're talking about women in a very like kind of way associated with toxic masculinity and all that stuff. There's also some racist remarks being done in there, so a lot of bad stuff coming out of this. And then on top of that, we got, Ubisoft employees also showed, support to the cause. And then they have also, started making some moves on their company as well. There was a walkout that happened in Activision Blizzard, I think, yesterday, perhaps, or sometime this week. I've been talking a lot. I brought in a lot of different things here. I will just bring this part from Axios here. Close to 500 current and former employees of Assassin's Creed publisher Ubisoft are standing in solidarity with protesting game developers at Activision Blizzard with a letter that criticizes their company's handling of sexual misconduct. So stuff is blowing up on that side as well right now. Again, Lewis, what are your thoughts on all of this while I drink some water and catch my breath?
Honestly, this is like the most like disheartening thing that this is the most disheartening thing to hear, especially when, when we talk about the games industry, we always talk about like, marketing cycles and hype and all that stuff like that. And
Mhm.
we always like, hear about like crunch and like, work conditions and stuff like that. But this just sort of takes it to the next level where it just sort of like gets the part where, you really have to, like draw a line in the sand when it comes to unacceptable things. And I've been
Mhm.
hearing someone someone like say, throwing the word boycott around. It's like, don't buy any more Activision Blizzard products. Don't even talk about Activision. Like, don't even cover their marketing cycles. Just, hurt them in the wallets. Make them feel that pain. And I sort of want to agree with that notion, but also it almost kind of feels like it's such a useless notion in the sense that they're too big to fail in a way. Like there's
Hmm.
the people that your average Call of Duty player isn't going to know to like, oh, we're boycotting Call of Duty this year, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. It almost kind of feels like you're not speaking to the masses. These kinds of things, unless they're covered by USA Today or something like that, or like the New York Times, which I don't think we're seeing that kind of coverage. And even then, like it's just like they're like this monolith. They're just too big to like to be taken down. Now, cancel culture can work its way into like getting one or two people at the top fired, but even then, you cut off one snake head and then another one grows back, or two more grow in its place, or something like that. I'm very jaded
At this
about
point,
this.
I don't even know if it's fair to call it a cancel culture for this kind of situation. In the sense, I don't want that to be misconstrued with different. The problem with those kinds of words is that they group things together that are not necessarily the same. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
um,
when people say cancel culture, they think it's frivolous or whatever, like that kind of stuff. But like cancel culture really started with like Bill Cosby and like Harvey Weinstein and
yeah,
Kevin Spacey, and then it just sort of like kind of sort of went from there, and it just sort of became like the value of that term devalued over time. But you're right, it is kind of like
yeah,
an incongruent thing to like to equal things out when it's not necessarily the case. But yeah, but either way, the point still stands.
yeah. Yeah, the only reason why I brought that up is because when you call it cancel culture, it almost makes it seem like you're suggesting like they're just going like they're just trying to cancel somebody when this is one of the largest scale situations like this that we've seen in the industry so far as far as the state of California getting involved.
Yeah.
Um, this got to be serious. Like this obviously is serious. All I can say is, and I struggle with talking about these topics because I'm not the best at talking about serious stuff as I am about because being a goof and talking about video games and the stuff that we do here all the time. Um, I don't have a lot to add that it's not what people are already saying on social media. But obviously all this stuff is terrible and shouldn't happen. And I think it's interesting to analyze kind of where it comes from and like how like kind of the origins of the games industry and the origins of game companies and how they've been able to grow to the point where stuff like this can happen at such a big capacity, right? Um, in the sense of like you imagine like there's a lot of mentions of frat boy culture, which to me is kind of like a vague term. Like, what do they mean by that? But at the same time, like I hear it and I can kind of picture it, and I'm like, I know what they mean. Um, and you know what? Like, I hate that shit. Like, I hate that kind of frat boy environment. Like, I'm not that kind of person. I have a really hard time, like, uh, be like, no, I don't even want to say being part, but like interacting with people that are like that. And it sucks that certain parts of our industry are like that because they were born out of um a frat house almost, right? You know what I mean? Like a lot of these companies were a bunch of guys just like starting to work together to make a video game. And a lot of that has led to when you put a bunch of guys together, like sometimes you're breeding more like those kind of toxic masculine traits that maybe everybody has a little bit of, like they breed further in that kind of situation is what I was trying to say. And I feel like that's kind of with the games industry being sausage party for so long, I think it has led to a lot of these things happening, unfortunately. And now we gotta kind of get out of our get out of our comfort zone to try to like kind of like tackle it head on and make a change so that people can have a more professional work environment. Because personally, I can only speak for myself. I have always worked in very professional work environments where I'm pretty sure stuff like this was not happening. um but that's not every company, and that's kind of what I need to be aware of and understand. And also, even if it is my experience in my company, it may not be somebody else's experience, so it's also good to communicate with your coworkers and know what everybody's going through and etc.
I also want
So
to
yeah.
call bullshit on one thing.
Hmm.
The there's always that thing where it's like we don't want we like I've been told of this at many companies that I personally work for, including the company I currently work for. It's like don't talk to the media. Like we've been told that like like if
Yeah.
ever like a reporter ever like comes to you or asks you a question, direct them to the media or our media relations team or whatever like that don't ever answer any questions. Like it's so interesting. It's so self-serving for Activision Blizzard to tell its employees not to talk to the media. Like we see them that they're trying to be, like silenced, and then like they
Yeah.
they have to like basically go talk to Kotaku, give them a copy of our open letter and all that kind of stuff. It is kind of ballsy because it does put their jobs at risk, by the way, because it's against
Hmm.
company policy to talk to the media. But I guess they obviously stand on high ground. They want to stand on principles and morals than care about their jobs. Because I mean, honestly, like when it comes to certain instances where like things are a no go, you don't necessarily want to work for a company like that breeds that. So why even want to have a job? Why stand for that? That kind of stuff. So I just wanted to point out that it's just bullshit that Activision was telling their employees not to talk to the media. Just pointing
Yeah.
that out there.
Because that if you had nothing to hide, why would you care, right? So like that just shows that they have stuff to hide, right? Um. Okay. So I think we said what there was to be said here. Obviously, there's a lot more going on. You can I don't want to take too much of our podcast time for that because we are mostly a positive podcast that tries to focus on positive things. But if you want to go and read more about this stuff, there's plenty of resources there. Definitely look for it. To our next story here. This one I brought from Eurogamer, reported by Emma Kent. Nintendo pulled out of Tokyo 2020 Olympic opening ceremony, report claims. The Tokyo 2020 Olympic opening ceremony featured a suite of video game music, including tracks from Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, and Sonic the Hedgehog. But one publisher was notably missing from the lineup. Where was Nintendo? According to leaked documents, it seems that there were once plans for the publisher to be more involved with the opening ceremony, with Nintendo songs included in the soundtrack and various Mario-themed shenanigans. The news comes via Japanese media outlet Shukan Bonshun, which has obtained several documents for the opening ceremony ranging from April 2020 to July this year. According to these plans, the event would have featured performances inspired by the 8-bit world of video games, including Super Mario and Space Invaders, overseen by Nintendo legend Shigeru Miyamoto. One composition plan, dated October 4th, 2020, featured a proposal that would have seen the return of the warp pipes from the Rio de Janeiro Olympics closing ceremony with something of a twist. One graphic shows Lady Gaga entering a pipe, only to reemerge as comedian Naomi Watanabe sporting a blonde wig and rad cap. Um, a music listed dated June 16, 2021, meanwhile, included 5 Nintendo songs that never made it to the event. The main theme of The Legend of Zelda, the opening of Pokemon, and tracks from Super Mario Bros. Were apparently due to be played during the athletes' entrance march. Shunkan Bunshin also reports that Miyamoto at one point attended meetings about the opening ceremony and that Nintendo was due to supervise the show. In the end, all the music was removed and Nintendo had no presence in the final ceremony. Shunkan Bunshin suggests that the chopping and changing of previously arranged ceremony content might have influenced Nintendo. So, plenty of stuff there. My mouth's running dry here, but I was pretty sad to see that Nintendo, which is such an influential company in the world of video games, one that Lewis and I love so much, and one that has some of the most iconic music themes and video games as well, with the Zelda theme, with the Mario theme, or the various Mario themes actually, um, did not have a presence on this, despite the fact that they feature so many other Japanese video games. So what do you think about that, Lewis? Do you think Nintendo was just being Nintendo here? Do you think there's more to it?
I want to know what it could have been. I mean, it definitely feels like there could have been more to it. And here's my thinking: the fact that they were already at the Rio Olympic Games means that Nintendo is happy to play nice with the Olympics. The Olympics is like a very huge, like worldwide viewership, like ratings bonanza. You know, it's like bigger than the
Yeah.
Super Bowl as far as like just in the U.S. alone, how much viewership it gets in the U.S. is like it keeps NBC afloat. I'm gonna tell you that right now. And then also just add in worldwide appeal and countries and stuff like that. I'm just saying right now, it just seems very odd for Nintendo to pull out, like especially having already been a part of it, done a warp pipe thing at Rio. The fact that they have an Olympics license with Mario and Sonic at the
Hmm.
Olympic Games, like it's so self-serving to self-promote, like it just doesn't make any sense. Nintendo has always been on the known for like saying that they want their brands to be on the level of Mickey Mouse, to have like
Mhm.
just cross demographic like four quadrant appeal. So I just don't understand why they would do it, or why they wouldn't do it. It's really hard for me to wrap my head around. I feel like there's got to be more at play other than Nintendo just being like total assholes and be like, you know what, fuck this, we're out. Like, there's just no way. There has to be something at
Mhm.
play. Some at least ego. At least egos got
Right.
bruised or something.
Yeah, some kind of conflict between like the organization of the event and some higher up at Nintendo or something. Some of the games that were featured here were Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, Tales of series, Monster Hunter, Kingdom Hearts, Chrono Trigger, Ace Combat. Um, let's see, Sonic the Hedgehog, Winning 11, which is Pro Evolution Soccer, then Fantasy Star Universe, Gradius, Nier, the Saga series, and Soul Calibur. Those were the franchises that were represented in the opening ceremony with no Nintendo. Very sad. Well, maybe we'll see them in the next one. Probably not. uh next up. So Louis, we skipped this. We always cover the NPD results, but we didn't last week. I think this was originally posted on July 16th, so it might have even been the week before.
Oh my god.
Uh, but I wanted to bring it up because this was actually there was NPD that were making the rounds this week. I was seeing on websites. I want to make sure to go find the source and actually bring it up in the podcast, especially because I always love talking about this. Now, here's the interesting one about this month. This is for the month of June in the US, obviously. Uh, while spending on content and accessories were virtually flat, hardware sales more than doubled, up 112%. For the month. Obviously, hardware sales going up compared to this month last year because we have new hardware out. That makes sense. But the biggest driver of the number was the Xbox Series X and S line of consoles, which took the title of best selling hardware by dollar sales for the first time. The PS5 has led in dollar sales twice since launch, November and January, with the Switch claiming the remainder of the months. Neither the PS5 nor the Series X and S has yet been able to best the Switch on unit sales in any given month. So, what does this mean? The Switch continues to be the console that sells the most at month after month for many, many months in a row now, for all of this year so far. However, in December and January, the PS5 took the top spot for best, more money made because PS5 is more expensive. So they can sell like 80% of the Switch units, for instance, and make more money. Or not necessarily make more money, but make more revenue.
Revenue, yeah.
But this month, for the first time, it was the Xbox Series X and S that took that spot. So I want to talk about that part first. Louis, do you think that means anything?
That is super weird, and like I cannot. I'm a little like surprised. Like I would have
Mm-hmm.
never expected like Xbox, like coming from the Xbox One days, I would never expected Xbox to like be the leading revenue like driver like of just dollars generated during a month in NPD. It's also just hands down like got to give a round of applause to the Switch for being able to be like the leading revenue driver, month after month, while also costing the least amount, for all of the
Yeah.
consoles and stuff like that. Whereas like the
And
PS5 is 400,
being the
500.
four-year-old hardware.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not as new and sexy. Yeah, that's true. So it's like, yeah, it's really interesting to see. But yeah, like I am like sort of like want to call shenanigans or something like that. Like I want to say like conspiracy theory, like PS5s weren't being on store shelves or on digital store shelves, and Xbox just had supply. You know.
So yeah, that's not a conspiracy theory, and that's kind of what I want to get to as well. So like, there's a lot of things that can influence this, right? It does not necessarily mean that there's more demand for an Xbox 5. It could simply mean that there's more supply, right? Now, we are also seeing a very specific boost in a very specific month, which is June, month of E3, where Xbox had a presence and did a showcase that was decently considered like a good E3 showcase, a great for a lot of people, perhaps amazing for some. And maybe in that month if all the stars aligned where they could have had like more supply, a good E3 presence, and Sony being out of it altogether, not having done a single state of play in the whole month, I think.
Other than the
um,
Horizon Direct, but whatever.
yeah, there we go. Then I guess that kind of makes sense that it would drive like maybe during that month people would be more driven to go and get a an Xbox instead of a PlayStation. Um, I'm gonna get out of this article a little bit just to bring up these other two headlines, and then we're gonna come back to it. From Polygon, despite short supply, the PlayStation 5 is Sony's fastest selling console ever. Company says it cleared 10 million units sold in 249 days. PS4 sold 10 million in 271.
Hmm.
And then from Eurogamer, Microsoft says Xbox Series X and S are its fastest selling consoles ever, but don't provide sales figures. So, uh, point being, now I wasn't gonna shit on them not providing sales figures necessarily. I was just gonna say that what seems to be happening this generation, which makes me really happy, is once again what was happening all the way back in like 2009 or 10, where we have all like the big three, Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony, um, being successful with their consoles. The Xbox Series X and S is the most successful Xbox ever so far. And in the month of June, it beat the other two in revenue. The Switch is one of the best, like most successful consoles for Nintendo as well. It is this crazy runaway success month after month, beating the competition. Excellent. And then the PS5 is the fastest selling PlayStation console. So I feel like it's almost like we're living a moment right now that we got to appreciate that we and three really like all three of the platforms are having their most successful runs or one of their most successful runs at least. So don't you think that's good news?
Yeah, I think that's very excellent news. Like, imagine just like having an industry where all three platform holders are basically they're all have wearing the crown at the same time, and they're all titans of their own, like of like kings of their own castles, and just titans of industry. And
Yeah.
no one is operating from a position of weakness. I think it's really
Yeah.
bold for everyone to be operating from a position of power. And Xbox is the series is the best Xbox to ever Xbox. PlayStation 5 is the best PlayStation to ever PlayStation, and the Nintendo Switch is the best Nintendo to ever Nintendo. So I think that's really awesome.
Yep. I agree with you. I am very happy about all of that. Now just doing the thing we always do, which is going through the top selling games of the month. In number one, we had Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which was a new addition here. Number two, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Does that game name really have two colons? I don't think I
Yeah.
had ever seen a game name with two colons. That I actually think that's incorrect. I think it's supposed to be Call of Duty Black Ops and then the colon, or I don't know. Anyway, Mario Golf Super Rush is number three. That is also a new addition. MLB The Show 21 was number four. Then Scarlet Nexus, which was a new game as well, number five. Then I don't think we have any new additions for the rest of the list, but I'm going to rattle those off. Resident Evil Village, Mario Kart 8, Minecraft, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, Mortal Kombat 11, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Super Mario 3D World, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Pokemon Sword and Shield, and Sea of Thieves. And I do want to point out some of the bigger jumps. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 plus 2 went from 51 to number 17. Sea of Thieves went from number 36 to number 20. So two nice jumps there in the list.
I wonder if there's gonna be. Do you want to make it like a dollar bet where like the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild gets back into the top 10, like the month before the sequel comes out or something?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Or like if I think even if we get like a proper direct that is focused on Breath of the Wild 2 with maybe a release date at the end, I think that month it already jumps. And then it probably like slowly falls down and then it jumps again when the game's about to come out.
Which is kind of crazy to
Um
think about because I would imagine that like anyone who wants to own Breath of the Wild is owning Breath of the Wild already at this point in the life cycle.
yeah,
But whatever.
true, true.
But as far as
There are
the
still people there
uh,
are still people that might not own a Switch yet.
that is true. That is true.
Oh.
But as far as the list here, it's kind of looking standard and stuff like that, especially with like the bottom half of
Mhm.
the top 10 with like Mario Kart 8 and Minecraft and
Yep.
surprised to see Mortal Kombat 11 in there. Actually, to tell you the truth, we just got confirmation that Mortal Kombat 11 is no longer in any active development. So
I am surprised to see MLB The Show holding up. And in fact, I think I saw a story that this game is the most successful MLB The Show ever, which makes sense because it released on Xbox on top of PlayStation, and it was on Game Pass on Xbox, which maybe that meant like it. Maybe you would have think that would mean that would sell less, but I also feel like there's a bit of a. I don't know if you noticed this, Lewis, but I seem to see this on Twitter from from the PlayStation fanboy types. They seem to sometimes um be so focused on like owning Xbox that they'll do these like weird oh, like they think they got MLB there. We're gonna make it sell more here. We're gonna go and buy MLB The Show on PS5 because that's the like. I almost feel like I wonder. Here's what I'm trying to get to. I wonder if Xbox poaching MLB The Show in quotes made PlayStation fans buy MLB The Show at an even higher rate than it would otherwise happen on PlayStation as like a fight back.
I don't know. That just seems very. I don't even think we're
Backwards
that.
thinking.
Yeah, I don't even think PlayStation fans are that hive mind. I would. I feel like you're giving them too much
Okay.
credit.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. I keep getting these tweets show up on my timelines that kind of sound like that. Uh where they're like, fuck Game Pass. I don't need free games. I got money, bitches. And then they'll like show their receipt or something like they just spent like $300 to buy like Returnal. Like, um, I don't know. Let's move on.
I just want to say just a
Um,
quick thing about
talking about
Returnal.
Game Pass.
About
Yeah.
Returnal, I heard like the Returnal only had sold like 500,000 units, and I don't even know if Returnal came out in June or not. But it's not on this. It's not on this top 20 list. So,
Interesting. I think Returnal was May, but
oh,
yeah, you're right. Even if it was like, because I don't remember, like you would still kind of expect it to see it there. Yeah, because Ratchet and Clank was June. I don't think they released those two like in the same month.
hmm.
Um, all right, next one here. Game Pass can't sustain 120 million games or 120 million dollar games until it has 500 million subscribers, says former PlayStation boss Shawn Layden. This I'm reading here the report by Sheriff Saad for VG 24/7. There is a way to expand the game's audience to support the rising cost of the biggest games, but Shawn Layden doesn't think Game Pass is it. Shawn Layden, former head of Sony Interactive Entertainment America, has been particularly outspoken about the rising cost of AAA game development, previously saying that those games would need to be shorter or the player base would need to grow for this model to be sustainable going forward. Layden, who recently took up a role in Streamline Media Group's advisory board, spoke to GamesIndustry.biz about a wide range of topics, including how he believes the games industry could widen its base and speak to more than the same group of 250 million players, which has yet to achieve the exponential growth necessary to sustain its rising cost of development. One potential area to grow the user base is game streaming, which Layden supports, even if he doesn't believe a compelling model has emerged there yet. People don't buy consoles because they want more steel and plastic in the living room. People buy consoles because they want access to the content, said Layden. If you can find a way to get the content into people's homes without a box, then yes, indeed, everyone has a streaming solution of some form. Most of it is limited by whether you have a decent internet connection, and they haven't constructed the business model that works yet for that. And what about the subscription model for video games? Layden doesn't buy that the massive AAA games, which cost in excess of $100 million, can be sustainable by launching into services like Game Pass. It's very hard to launch a $120 million game on a subscription service charging $10 a month, he claimed. You pencil it out, you're going to have 500 million subscribers before you start to recoup your investment. That's why right now you need to take a loss leading position to try to grow that base. But still, if you have only 250 million consoles out there, you're not going to get to half a billion subscribers. So how do you circle that square? Nobody has figured that out yet. The way forward, according to Layden, is to diversify games so that it attracts new users outside the standard 250 million, and he believes Streamline Media Group has a proven model that can create those games.
Well, that's very self-serving for him to say that, since that's his current digs.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
So I like to hear what Shawn Layden has to say about the industry sometimes. I feel like he has a lot of interesting insight, and I agree with a lot of things he says. I don't necessarily agree with everything he's saying here. I think there's a few interesting things about it that we can kind of pick apart.
so I just wanted to say that I want to know like the arithmetic on this and stuff like that. Like, 500 million people paying $10 a month. You're talking about revenue in the what is this? What,
5
5
billion.
billion? You're
Mm-hmm.
taking a company taking in $5 billion a month needs to
Yeah.
have that much revenue come in to afford a $100 million game.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
what I was gonna get to. Like this math does not add up to me. So number one, I find it interesting that he had the very specific values that he mentioned. He mentioned 120 million dollar game. He mentioned 250 million consoles. He mentioned 500 million subscribers, right? When he says 250 million consoles, what he means is like usually if you get like the Nintendo console plus the PlayStation console plus the Xbox, add those user bases together, it adds up to about, somewhere around 250 million people typically.
and that's
It's
not,
been
and
like
that's
that for
assuming that they're all unique customers and not people who are multi-console owners. But whatever. But go on. Yeah.
Yes. Um, so I get that, but then the 500 million seems kind of weird. The math doesn't really add up if you just look at the one game, right? If you look at an array of games, then yes.
Well,
But I wonder,
even if you did like a game a month at that 120 million a pop, you're definitely going to be spending under like 1.5 billion dollars on 12 games. That's still,
yeah,
you're still talking about generating revenue in like by the billions per
yeah,
month, and you're talking about spending on games per year. That's completely
yeah.
like backwards. It doesn't. And to me, just looking at this on the unless there's something more at play that I don't know, it just seems to me like Shawn Layden is overstating the position.
Right. Like, here's the interesting thing, right? Like, Microsoft spent $7 billion on Bethesda, right? How many subscribers would they need to pay for those $7 billion dollars? If they had 100 million subscribers spending $10 a month, that's $1 billion a month. So in 7 months, they paid that off. You know what I mean? So I don't think the math is this harsh. I actually think that Game Pass could probably, if they remain in the same cadence that they're at, I think Game Pass could probably be profitable with even like 50 million subscribers or 100 million subscribers, somewhere in that range. They probably could be very profitable if they are making the right investments, if they're thinking about it. But the other thing too is that Microsoft is in the long game, so they can afford to have some losses for maybe 5 years until they get to the point where they are worrying about profit, or even more than 5 years, by the way, until they get to the point where they are worrying about profit. And at that point, it's like if let's say that you're going to spend $1 billion in games a year. $1 billion in games a year, that can get you a lot of games. That can get you a lot of like exclusive deals. That can get you a lot. That can get your own, like a lot of your own first party games going. That can get you a lot of like indie deals and so forth, right? So like, and $1 billion a year, actually really easy to get with this model, right? And that's just an example. Obviously, maybe their operating costs would end up being much higher than that, but I'm sure they can make things. I believe Xbox could make the ends meet if they needed to. Eventually, they will probably make less aggressive acquisitions. They will probably have less, like the amount of content would probably not be as big as it is now. But I think it could work out. Now, the thing that I find the most interesting is that he wouldn't just pull that number out of his ass. So for him to say that specific number, to me, that tells me something. To me, that means that at some point, Shawn Layden made a plan for this at Sony, or was asked to, or asked somebody to, and that was the conclusion that they got to at Sony. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like that for Sony to be profitable in this model, they believed that they needed 500 million subscribers.
And Netflix doesn't even have that kind of number, and they're like the
Yeah.
biggest streamer there is to ever stream. And they're trying to go into gaming too, just to increase that number. So you know
True,
what I
true,
mean?
true.
Like, well, 200
And what he
million
said,
subscribers isn't enough.
he said, you got a maximum of 250 million, which is the console players, but not really, because one, you can grow your console audience. Nintendo has done that before with the Wii, and I'm sure that has happened other times too. Number two, I mean, Microsoft already knows this, which is why they're going for with PC as well.
And
And you
xCloud.
could probably get another like 250 million people on PC alone. And then when you think about, mobiles and xCloud and all that stuff, then you can go even further. So, at the end of the day, if anything, Microsoft is making the moves that would allow them to perhaps one day have 500 million subscribers. It's probably not going to happen. That seems like too much of a stretch. Um, but I'm pretty sure they would have enough to where they could operate within a profit. Um, so that's the way I look at it right now.
Fair enough.
Last one. This is kind of an extra news story, especially considering how long we've run on the show by now. But Naughty Dog, Infinity Ward, PlayStation, and EA veterans form a new AAA studio called That's No Moon. They are making a single-player, story-driven action game. This was reported by VGC. Headquartered in Los Angeles, the team includes former Naughty Dog, Infinity Ward, Sony Santa Monica Studio, EA, and Bungie developers, to name a few. Among the key figures are studio co-founder and chief creative officer Taylor Kurosaki and game director Jacob Minkoff. The pair left Infinity Ward earlier this year, having served as design director and narrative director of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, respectively. Prior to joining Infinity Ward in 2014, Kurosaki spent over a decade at Naughty Dog, where he was lead game designer on Crash Bandicoot and narrative design lead on Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3. Minkoff also worked at Naughty Dog for 5 years, where he served as lead game designer on Uncharted 3 and lead designer on The Last of Us. So basically, we got a group of very talented folks getting together to form a new studio in LA called That's No Moon. And I wanted to bring this up because I have a feeling we'll be hearing a lot about this studio in the future, probably in like 3 years.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that it just kind of seems like they are following the design template of like, here is the career trajectory of a game developer. Establish yourself and build a name for yourself at a big AAA studio, and then leave said AAA studio and with your friends and colleagues and form a new studio yourself. So that way you have a resume and clout. You know what I mean? Like, it
Yep.
just kind of feels like this is like the standard. We've heard this story a million times, and that's not to say, that's not to diminish them or their story, anything. By the way, I just want to say, but like we've I've heard this story before,
Yeah.
And
No,
Dan,
I
I
agree.
I expect you to be leaving EA and finding your own studio in like 10 years from now, and be like the director or the head executive honcho of your studio.
Maybe that will happen one day. We'll have to wait and see.
Okay, 20
Um,
years, 20 years.
and
Yeah.
now to our extra news today. We got 14 stories, not 13, not a baker's dozen. Number one, Koei Tecmo has announced that Fatal Frame Maiden of Blackwater will launch as a digital only title on October 28th for PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, X and S, and Switch. Number two, Nintendo is shutting down the mobile game Dr. Mario World in November. Number three, from July 29th to August 1st, a group of select players will get the chance to engage in some arena based combat in Halo Infinite. That will be happening this weekend. So if you were one of the lucky ones, congrats. Number four, Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Jim Ryan has said the company is excited to start working with Nixxes software on PC games, confirming what was already speculated about the acquisition. Number five, Hades wins Game of the Year, Best Audio, and Best Design in the Game Developers Choice Awards at GDC Online. Number six, the Nintendo 3DS got a new system update for the first time in 9 months. Number size, number size, number seven. I think I was gonna say seven and then five came into my head for some reason. Facebook has put a temporary freeze on sales of its Oculus Quest 2 following reports of adverse skin reactions to the foam used to cushion the VR headset's display. Number eight, Death Stranding has sold through 5 million copies worldwide on PS4 and PC, developer Kojima Productions has said. Number nine, a new Pokemon TV series is in early development on Netflix, written and produced by Joe Henderson from Lucifer. Number 10, players of the beta version of Amazon's MMO New World have reported that their RTX 3090 cards were bricked after playing the game, which also reached up to 200,000 concurrent players on Steam last weekend. So that's two stories in one. Number 11, Bandai Namco announced the delay of Digimon Survive to 2022. It will be available for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. And PlayStation console exclusive Canada Bridge of Spirits was also delayed to 2022. Number 12, James Bond's Aston Martin is coming to Rocket League, and Okami's Amaterasu is coming to Monster Hunter Rise. Number 13, Valve promises Steam Deck will run the entire Steam library at least 30 plus FPS. And number 14, A new PS5 system software is rolling out in beta today that finally unlocks the long promised ability to expand the system's 666 gigabytes of usable internal storage using M2 SSDs that fit certain technical and physical requirements.
About damn time.
Yep.
Man, this is some pretty juicy extra news. It's been a while since we have actual like extra news that I actually want to comment on. But
Give it to
yeah,
me.
R.I.P. to Dr. Mario World. It's like we barely knew you. To tell you the
I,
truth, I don't really care. Like I'm surprised. This is like
I was
go
I will
for
tell
it.
you something, Louis. Almost all of these Nintendo mobile games, some of them I never really played, but there's quite a few of them that I played for like a weekend and then I never played again.
Like
But I
the
almost
like that one game that we played together. That one that
yeah,
took place in there.
Miitomo.
Mitomo. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I was thinking about too. But I almost kind of like that. Like I almost kind of look fondly on it. I feel like it became like not for other people, but in my story, it becomes this weird like blip. You know what I mean? Off like a game that I played that weekend. It's like it's interesting for me to think about. Like when I think about Mitomo, there's this week where I was playing that game and I remember what I was doing. Like while I was playing that game, and I feel kind of similar about like Dr. Mario World as well. So
People
it's
hated
kind of
on that game.
interesting.
People hated on the game the moment that game launched. By the way, so yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm actually
Yeah.
kind of more surprised that it lasted this long.
So Jim Ryan committing to PC games, huh?
Yeah, I think we already like didn't we talk about it like last week or something like that? Because I feel like this was like a bit of like speculation that we already did, and yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
not.
So that's the thing. It was speculated. Now he straight up said it.
Mm, yeah, I'm not surprised, and I don't really. I mean, we saw that PowerPoint deck that was leaked or whatever, where it's like, here's like
Mhm.
the games that we're gonna be coming to PC that we were planning or whatever, and so now it's like now they got an official like you know they have like the Blue Point games of like of PC porting, you know.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know what this new the 3DS system update is about or what it fixes. I hope it's just like here's a security bug that we fixed or whatever, because it just doesn't seem like it's going to be a situation where like the patch, oh, even right here, the patch note says stability improvement, so that pretty much means that it's a security fix. It's gonna the Wii
Yeah.
U had that a lot, where it's like even like last year something like that, the Wii U got a software update where all it is just a way to combat piracy or combat like security exploits that modders do all the time. So I'm pretty sure that that's what's at play here. But really, for the most part, like the 3DS is now like legacy to Nintendo. So whatever. Um,
Um, I do want to bring up some extra news that is a little bit old. You mentioned Blue Point Games, and I was like, weren't they going to be acquired by Sony? Was that ever confirmed? And so I looked it up. And they weren't. They actually they said that that the rumor is not true, that they're not going to be acquired by Sony. Um, so that's weird. Why do they have that image then? Why do they tweet that image? I don't know.
some photocopier, some intern fucked up and got the wrong
Yeah.
image from Google or something like that. But also, another separate thing I'm really a little curious about the Oculus Quest 2, as far as I know, has been on sale since damn near a whole year, since last September. Why are people just
I
now
know.
being like reacting or getting like skin reactions and stuff like that? I mean, we both played the Oculus Quest 2. I mean, I we I
Yep.
don't. You'd have to be like a super heavy user for that foam to wear out, and then something exposes to your face or something.
I didn't have any issues. I know other people that use it that didn't have any issues that I know of. So I feel like that is just one of those things where some people had issues, but because some people had issues, maybe there was a lawsuit going on for a while or whatever, and they finally had to address it. Um, so I don't know. It feels like they're just going to come back with a slightly different, modified version of it and re-release it soon. But yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird to see that it's straight up not for sale anymore.
So I'm not even like I'm semi surprised by Pokemon being on Netflix. Like on the one hand, like a Pokemon anime has been a thing since like Ash Ketchum wanting to be the very best, like no one ever was. But at the same time, like the fact that it's landing a Netflix deal or whatever is really weird. I don't know. It just seems kind of like
So
yeah.
it's a live action Pokemon show akin to Detective Pikachu.
Oh.
The thing that I find the most interesting about it, though, is the fact that they got the guy that produced Lucifer to do it, because I did not I've never really watched Lucifer. I've seen like parts of it, but the parts of it that I saw, I didn't really think Pikachu when I saw that. So I think that is kind of interesting. Um, but maybe it's a guy with just a lot of variety of different tastes and styles. So maybe he can pull it off. But yeah, no, it's not just some animated series. This is
Hmm.
like a real like live action show.
Okay, damn. More
Mhm.
power to him. I hope it's good. Um, but yeah, also I'm surprised by Kenna Bridge of Spirits. By the way, I thought that game was much further along just based off of the footage that was released. And lastly, about damn time. Again, I'm gonna say it again. About damn time that PlayStation 5 is putting out that long promised expanding the storage and stuff like that. Like it's been a pain to just play the game the PS5 as it is with like the current internal storage. I don't have like an external hard drive hooked up to it, and yeah, I am going to invest in M2 storage as soon as like the update is out publicly for everyone else after it's been beta tested. So I don't know how long. I wonder how long the beta period is going to be. Is it, whatever. Anyways, yeah.
I have no idea. Lewis, get us our next sound effect. We're gonna
Okay.
move on to check this out. So I brought three things to the table here today. Number one, after the Xbox Series X fridge, got an Xbox Series S suitcase. The classiest Xbox accessory that you can't buy. The Xbox Series S luggage holds an actual Xbox Series S, and it may be the least practical yet also best way to amuse yourself while traveling. It looks like the Xbox Series X. It's based on the size. It's probably one of those like small suitcases that you can put over, the overhead compartment in the overhead compartment in a plane. And you need to let's see. You can also open it. There's a photo here that's pretty cool. Like they have, I don't know if all of that is included with the suitcase, but they basically show that you can have like the Series S in there, two Xbox controllers, there's a screen. You got to open that tweet, Lewis. Yeah.
Ah, here we go.
um so it's pretty cool. Now this is not for sale yet. It looks like they're doing some kind of event for you to potentially win it. um but they did do that for the fridge, and then eventually they put out the fridge for sale, so that could happen too. um Unfortunately, the only way to get it is to win a social media contest that's open exclusively to residents of Australia and New Zealand who are
Oh,
13 years old or older. So we can't even try to get it.
damn.
But cool
I
nonetheless.
just want to say this cushion, this foam, is not very conducive to letting the Xbox being able to breathe. I just don't want it to see it get it overheated or whatever.
Mm.
Just throwing that out there. But also, separate side note, this reminds me of a story that was covered on the Double XP podcast where Fame was talking. Fame gave a great theory, like he just blew my mind, and I'm like, oh my god, yes, this is he. I think he just spoke it into existence. But DJ Khaled got like yeah, I don't know if you know who DJ Khaled is, but he's basically like a hip hop rapper guy.
Is that wait, is that the guy who talks about how he doesn't go down?
I don't know, but he's the guy that basically goes DJ Khaled, we the best
Okay.
music, and then he has like a meme where he's like and another one, like the yeah.
You know the story I'm talking about though, right?
Nope, I have no idea.
Oh, okay. So there was a controversial story a while ago about this musician guy or whatever that, and I'm pretty sure it was this person who was talking about how he likes oral sex to be given to him, but he doesn't give it. But the main problem was his reasoning, because he's the king and he is the patriarch, and he doesn't do that shit. He just spends money to buy his woman things, and then she does that stuff for him, but he doesn't need to do it. And it
Yeah,
was like this.
a
Do you
woman.
remember
Okay,
this?
so DJ Khaled says he won't go down on his wife, and Twitter
There you
actually
go.
exploded. His wife. Okay, I'm gonna just skip to this part where it says, "quote A woman should praise the man, the king." Khaled said, who's now 42, said
Yes.
in an interview, "If you holding it down for your woman, I feel like the woman should praise." I
So
never heard
stupid.
of this. Like this is, wow, this is crazy. You're blowing my mind again right now. But to give it
Well,
to
I'm pretty good at blowing your mind.
clip that.
Yeah.
But anyways, so to finish out the story, so DJ Khaled, he got like you know how celebrities get shit for free. Well,
Hmm.
Microsoft or someone sent him like some stuff, and part of the suitcase that he unboxed on his Instagram or his social media was an Xbox Series S, and he's like getting all this stuff, and he's looking and getting opening, and the Series S is one of many things that he got, and he opened it and he saw it, he picked it up, he's like, oh wow, look, a speaker.
Oh man,
and
that's
then,
funny.
and so Fame on the Double XP podcast was like, you know what? Everyone was making fun of like the Xbox Series X looking like a fridge, and we got a big fridge and a mini fridge out of it. So I'm gonna call it right now. And Microsoft finna make an Xbox Series S speaker. Yeah.
I'm
So
waiting for it.
there you go.
I could see it. We actually, it's nothing but Xbox stuff today on Check This Out. So, like, the next one is that there's some Xbox donuts that you can get at Krispy Kreme right now. Uh, Krispy Kreme has created an Xbox donut. The Fluffy Donut is a marketing collaboration with Microsoft to celebrate 20 years of Xbox and will be sold at Krispy Kreme stores, cabinets, and online across the UK and Ireland between August 2nd and
Oh,
August 22nd.
come
Once
on,
again,
man.
this is the check this out of disappointment. It's like, oh, this is cool. And we can't get it in the US, but oh well,
Honestly, to
look
tell you
good.
the
I wish I
truth,
could get them.
if
Maybe you
this
can
was in the
import them.
U.S., I would have like taken a bought like some donuts and like just taken a picture and posted it like on Twitter of me eating the donut. I really would have.
The final one here is that the Gears of War studio, the Coalition, showed off what they can do with the new Unreal Engine. There's two videos. One of them is showing some character model stuff, and then the next one is showing some lighting. And it's just kind of supposed to be one of those tech um, showcases of like, oh, like this is what we can do with Unreal Engine 5. Look how good games can look. Another question obviously is, are we actually going to see like a game? You know, are we actually going to see Gear 6 look that good?
Yeah.
Um,
I've seen
we'll
tech
see.
demos like this before, where it's like, look how like photorealistic we can, hit that uncanny valley. And like, I honestly would like to see whenever like, I would like to see the Xbox Series X not explode when it tries to render this much polygons.
You know what would be funny to do? This would be a funny segment to look at tech demos, but in hindsight, like go back and look at like a tech demo for like the PS4 or something like from the first year and see like did we ever get something that looked that good? I wonder what we would find.
All right. Well,
Like I have a bit of a hot take about. I don't know if it's a hot take, but do you remember that Zelda tech demo on the Wii U?
yes, I remember that shit. Oh, and then like they had like the Wii U gamepad and you can like manage all your shit and everything like that. Oh, and it looks so good. It looked like a Twilight
Yeah.
Princess sequel.
Yes. That one with the spider and
Yeah.
everything. I think we have yet to get a Zelda game that looks that good. And I'm not talking like art style. I'm not even like shitting on Breath of the Wild's art style because I like the more artsy Zeldas. But I just mean like there hasn't been a Zelda game yet that has looked that good as far as like
Graphical
poly
showpiece.
count,
Yeah.
lighting, like graphical showpiece, right? Like it could be in the style of Breath of the Wild, but like it doesn't have that level. Like it's not that impressive looking. So I would love to see that one day. But yeah, this is it for it. Check this out. So Lewis, I'll give you the show now, and you can take us home.
What are you buying?
Okay, so for new releases, there's a lot of new releases to hit up here. So luckily, it's mostly just actual releases and no updates. So first up is going to be Alone with You, which is a July comes on July 30th on the Switch. Next up is Grime for Stadia and PC on August 2nd, and Lemnis Gate for the PS5, Xbox Series X and S and PS4, Xbox One, and PC on August 3rd. Also, August 3rd is The Ramp on PC, and August 4th is Dungeon Defenders Awakened. And I just want to sort of pause on this one. I don't have a blurb for you on this one, but I actually did, in fact, review this game on LV1 Gaming. I got a code for it back when it came out on the Xbox, and I reviewed it on the Xbox Series X, but I'm pretty sure I actually reviewed an Xbox One version of the game because it even says like the platforms it's basically backwards compatible. So Dungeon Defenders Awakened is actually it's a tower defense game, and I don't know if like this was like my second tower defense game that I reviewed for the site, and I actually didn't like the game as much. I think that there was it felt more standard and it felt more like I don't know like boring. I guess is the best word I can explain because I had played a previous tower defense game that was like a very funny, comical, very zany story, and the story kept me hooked. And in this game, the story wasn't as like as gimmicky, I guess, for the lack of a better word. So I ended up giving the game a 6. I think like overall, like just to give you like the cons of it, it was like the tutorial wasn't that good, the story was not very engaging, the inventory system was kind of complicated, but overall, like it's like a very basic, very run-of-the-mill tower defense game. So if tower defense is your genre, like your go-to genre, then by all means, it's a nice little 3D action game to sort of keep you entertained. So, yeah, not a very good overwhelmingly like positive hey, go check this game out. But it's my review, it's a thoughts. A 6 is kind of like better than mediocre. So, I don't know what else to say beyond that. Save me, Dan.
It's game.
Whatever. Anyways, next up is My Time at Portia, which is out on iOS and Android on August the 4th. And finally, The Falconeer, which is coming out on August 5th for PlayStation 5, PS4, and Switch. It was previously an Xbox Series X and S launch game. Exclusive and yeah, so the blurb reads, "From the clouds they dive, the screams of battle in their lungs, soar through the skies aboard a majestic warbird, explore a stunning oceanic world, and engage in epic aerial dogfights in this BAFTA-nominated air combat game from a solo developer, Thomas Salah. Take on the role of Falconeer and embark on a journey of discovery to solve the mystery of the Earthsea, its people, and history." Damn, that actually kind of sounds kind of interesting. It almost kind of reminds me of that one like PSVR game where like you're flying as a falcon or whatever. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but that was pretty cool. But yeah,
I think the game you're talking about I tried in like a event, but I'm watching some gameplay for the Falconeer right now, and it does look pretty interesting. Because I remembered like I saw the name and I was like, this game was on my radar at some point. And like we're seeing these events all the time. We see like during E3 and stuff, we see 200 different games, and then some just kind of stick out to you. And sometimes when you look back, you're like you remember, but like you may remember the name, but not what the game is, or you may remember what the game is, but not the name. It's like Canada Bridge of Spirits. I'm like, I kind of remember that, but not very well. And then this was one of those where I was like, I remember that name. But I just looked it up, and yeah, it looks like a very unique, interesting, artsy game.
all right. And for next week, just remember that Avengers War for Wakanda expansion is coming. Also, a Back for Blood open beta is coming next week as well. So that's it for new releases.
Those two are actually a little bit farther off. I don't know if it's not like we typically read the stuff for next week. It's more like this is for like it would have been the week after that, so it's more like 2 weeks from now, like mid August. But it's all good. I just wanted to clarify.
It's a reminder for yourself on the dock. My bad. But yeah,
You're good.
as far as obviously pick of the week goes, it's obviously going to be the Falconeer, I would imagine. Hopefully the Metacritic on that is badass. The jury has already been settled on that one as far as the fact that it's already came out on Xbox back in November. But yeah, that's it for new releases. We'll go ahead and move on to the sales, or for Broke Gamers Guide.
Got a selection of good things on sale, stranger.
As always, for Broke Gamers Guide, we talk about the Epic Games first. We got the Epic Games Store free games of the week. There's two of them. There's Mother Gunship and Train Sim World 2. I already claimed these free games, so let's actually read the blurb on this one. Mother Gunship is a bullet hell first-person shooter where you craft your own guns, fight huge bosses, and defeat a robotic alien armada that conquered Earth. Face off against overwhelming odds in brutal, non-stop combat where thinking on your feet is the only way to survive. Now, one of the very first games that I ever reviewed for Level 1 Gaming was a first-person shooter bullet hell game.
BPM.
Yes, BPM, bullets per minute. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. This kind of this kind of reminds me of BPM just seeing this footage, by the way. So I kind of like BPM. It was my favorite game that I reviewed for Level 1 when we did our like end of the year awards shout out. So yeah, sure, why not? Next up is the summer sale for 2021 is going on right now for Epic Games, and the first thing I saw was Knockout City, which just came out like a month or two ago. I remember. So yeah, let's see. Days Gone, $40. Wow. Okay. I forgot that Days Gone was already ported to PC. Let's see. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, also $40. I see Red Dead 2, $40. Cyberpunk, trash, $40. Grand Theft Auto 5, which was previously given away for free, is for $15. So yeah, not too shabby. That's a good. I kind of feels like Epic Games is trying to sort of go for that like Steam summer sale kind of thing.
Yep.
Do you have anything that you wanted to shout out or anything that's specific?
Totally. I don't have the links open, but I'm opening them right now. Um, I still gotta play Civ 6. I got an email from Steam, by the way, like once in a while, like, hey, Civ 6 is on sale because I wish listed it at some point, but I have yet to buy it. But yeah, $15 on the Epic Store right now.
Knockout City is $13, is what I found here. I also saw Biomutant, which is for $54. So it's not too big a sale, but Biomutant I remember was reviewed by Level 1 Gaming as well.
It's a game that just came out too.
Yeah. All right. I guess you can, since you haven't spoken, I'm assuming you're going to hold your peace. We'll go ahead and move on to the next one. The PS Plus for August was announced, and I didn't even know this. I'm finding this out right now for the first time here. So let's see here. The selection is Hunter's Arena Legends for the PS5 and PS4. Plants vs. Zombie Battle for Neighborville for the PS4, and Tennis World Tour for the PS4. Man, this is making them give Xbox a run for their money for
I know.
sus month.
this this should give Xbox a chance to have a solid month and win this month as far as the games with gold versus PS Plus situation. Let's see how they're doing over there.
All right, let's take a
I
look
think
at
we
games with gold. All right, games with gold. Ooh, okay. Okay. The first thing that I came to my that I saw ukulele. Now ukulele got like reviewed badly. I think the 2D platform did better than the 3D revival, but ukulele is ukulele. But anyways, Darksiders 3 is free from August 1st to the 31st. Ukulele is free from August 16th to the September 15th. Lost Planet 3 available from August 1st to the 15th, and Garu Mark of the Wolves available August 16th to the 31st. So
I will say that I think this is possibly one of the first times from us doing this show where I think safely give the W to Xbox on the games with gold versus PS Plus situation. Don't you agree?
yeah, I 100% agree. At least with the Xbox headliners, that they are actually like known properties as far as IP goes. So yeah, fair enough.
Like ukulele, I know some people, didn't like it as much, but it is a game that is in a lot of people's radars. I'm sure a lot of people would love to try it, if they could get it for free. Darksiders 3. Darksiders is kind of like it's a medium, like it's like a double A franchise, but it's generally considered one of the best off the double A franchises like it. As far as I know, Darksiders 3 is a good game. Like one worth getting. It's a recognizable game. Now the possible like um what would you call it? Like when it's the one that nobody's expect the sleeper hit here, I think might be Lost Planet 3 because I've never played that game, but I heard really good things about it. I heard it's an actual like really good game, one that has like a very unique premise and stuff. Like one of those hidden gems off the Xbox 360 that was actually on my list to buy eventually.
Hmm.
So overall, and I don't know, I have never heard of the final game, but overall, it seems like a pretty solid month for Xbox and a weak month for PlayStation, especially compared to previous PlayStation months.
True. I just kind of hope that like Ukulele and the Impossible Layer comes for free like in a couple of months. I hope so. You know, that would be dope. I also got mad when I didn't get Ukulele for free on Epic Game Store because not this past Christmas, but the Christmas before that in Christmas 2019, they were doing a 12 Days of Christmas giveaway where it was like one game per day
Mm.
that you had to redeem, and I missed Ukulele. So next up, Apple TV Plus offer 6 months. Let's see here. Unlock 6 months of Apple TV Plus now on your PS5. Oh, interesting. I thought. See, the thing is, there is an Apple TV Plus app on Xbox. I don't remember there being an Apple TV Plus app on PlayStation. I'm assuming that it just launched, and now they're just offering you months for free just by redeeming it. So that's cool. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Two shows I recommend on Apple TV Plus, so I recommend everybody go get this and then watch them there, which are Mythic Quest and Tad Lasso.
Yep.
Both are very good.
I remember you talking about both of those shows prior on a prior episode. Next up here, let's see. Like, there's a Xbox Ultimate Game Sale. So we even talked about like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Oh my God, it's even better. The sale is even better on Xbox. It's $30 instead of $40 on like an Epic Games Gang Beast. I see Gang Beast for $10. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War is going to continue to hit the charts next month on NPD because it is now
Mhm.
$30. So those are my first things that I see here. I see Knockout City again, Biomutant again, and you know, I just want to say I feel sorry for Immortals Phoenix Rising. I feel like it got the short end of the stick, but there it is, $40. The gold edition at
Mhm.
that, by the way, $40.
Yep.
But yeah, let's see. Mortal Kombat 11, 24. Master Chief Collection, $20. Outer Worlds, $20. Uno, $4. So yeah, Battletoads, $5. Wow. Okay. All right. I'll think about it. That one almost makes me want to like, oh, I can just pull the trigger
Isn't
on
it
that one.
I isn't it on Game Pass? I think it might be on Game
Oh,
Pass.
you
That's
know
right.
what? Yeah, fuck that. I have Game Pass. I don't ever take advantage of Game Pass to tell you the truth. I really should. But yeah, Control Ultimate Edition, $20. So yeah, that's pretty dope. That's actually a pretty decent sale, by the way. I gotta say, Xbox hasn't had a
Yeah,
good sale like that in a while. Anything you wanted to shout out?
agree. You already hit all the ones that I would.
Of course, and a way out, $6. Everyone knows Ready Press Play approved. All right, next up, Crash Bandicoot Crash Anniversary Bundle, $120.
So here's the thing. The actual price for this is $60. Okay.
Mm.
So for $60, you get the Crash trilogy, Crash 4, and Crash Team Racing. So you get all Crash games for $60. Or you can buy the individual games are on sale as well. Now the $120, I believe. You know what? No, here's the thing. $60 for PS Plus members. That's what it is. So the regular price is $120. For
Ah,
PS Plus members, you get 50% off. You can get it for $60 as a special deal. It includes a lot of different games. So obviously $120, that's not a deal. That's just the price of the games combined. But for $60, the amount of games that you get, the amount of value that you get from it, I think makes it worth it.
damn. Yeah, that's like what is that?
Yeah.
Like 6 games? No
Yeah.
wait, no wait. Hold on. 4, 5. Yeah, that's
5.
5. 5 games. Okay, nice. For some odd reason, I thought there was 2 Crash Team Racing games for a second there. But yeah, that's actually a pretty good find. Good job, Dan.
You're welcome.
All right.
All right. On that note, Oh wait, there's just one more thing, which I didn't have a link for it, but Marvel's Avengers is free to try this weekend. Just this weekend until August 1st on PS4, PS5, PC, and Stadia. They said they were going to do a free weekend on Xbox at a later date. And that's it for the show today.
All right.
It is time to end. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Ready Press Play. Remember, you can reach the podcast at ReadyPlayNetwork.com or simply at Ready Press Play on Twitter or TikTok. I'm on Twitter at the Dan Lima and Lewis.
At Chocolaka88.
That's right. Don't forget to subscribe, give us a review, tell your friends about the show, and all that good stuff. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Peace.